Hey, welcome back. Let's get started with the play. Okay, so I'm going to take you through the steps a little slowly. We didn't go through all the rules in video 1. I will explain the rules as I go and try to keep it to only as much as necessary for while I'm going. But the first thing we do is we get income. Now, this is skipped during phase 1. However, and there's a reason it's skipped. I was supposed to start the game with my income. So I get income anyways, but you start the game with it. And then you skip the get income phase. Now, you might be, because every player I've played with has been asking, well, why do we do that? Well, that's because during the get income phase, if your notoriety is below this line, you can unlock an asset. So see right here, it says for $3, you get to unlock an asset tile. So basically the game's not letting us unlock an asset tile on the very first turn of the game. So you get your income as part of setup. So I have $9,000, and the reason I have 9 is because it says 9 right there, and that's what the setup tells you. Now the AI bots do not use money in the game, so money doesn't matter to them. Obviously Bob has an endgame score, but that's it. So we will be the only ones managing actual money. So step 1, skip it on day 1. Okay, step 2, reveal patrol cards. This is a real easy step. We just draw 2 cards from the patrol deck. So let me move you over here. We're going to draw 2 cards. And you can see this one is a 1 and this one's a 2. So what we do is we just put the 1 over on the 1 and the 2 over on the 2. So what do these cards mean? Well, if 2 cards of a particular number ever shows up, then that exit gets closed by the police. Remember, we have 3 exits in the game. The police are going to close 2 of them, and 1 of them is going to stay open. Now, with that being said, I need to take one of these cards because there's 2 cards for every location. I'm just going to set it out of the game. That card obviously is going to represent the exit that is going to be open on day 3. Okay, you're supposed to do that during setup, by the way, but it's no big deal. As long as one of the cards is out of the deck, you're fine. Okay, so as you can see, we're flying along, and then we move to step 3. In turn order, place city tiles, and then place the police on the new tiles. Okay, so every player gets to pick these city tiles that you see over here. And one at a time, we get to place one. However, I'm playing by myself. So how do we do this? Well, every player gets to place 2 city tiles following the normal rules. Sandra does not count as a player. Okay, and so now I'm going to move over to Bob here. And Bob does not care either. So we get to place all the tiles ourselves, however we like. So that's an interesting thing. In a multiplayer game, this is a crucial step, right? Every player gets some factor here. Okay, because how the city, builds up is going to be drastically different, and so you get to actually do some planning here. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, I mentioned that moving through this water was a bad move. This water is impassable in normal movement unless you have a jet ski. Now, there is also a possibility to have what's called a freighter, or a ferry. A ferry is what I meant to say. And the ferry allows the water to be passable. And then you can see these little H's here. That does not represent the hospital, which I originally thought. It represents that there's a helipad. So basically you can use a helicopter at this location if you have a means to use one. And there's several ways that you get to use one. All right, so we get to place our stuff. Now, what I like is I do like placing businesses first, or the safe house. That exit 3 tile over here is, like, if we were playing a multiplayer game, I think that one would be the last one placed. I think you would see the players go after these 3 tiles over here first. Now, you might be wondering why. Well, this card. So the businesses mean something different. So this casino is going to get me income. And so I want to see a casino get out there early because I like getting income early. Why do I like getting income early? Because right now my income is $9,000, baby. And it gets worse. So every time I put one of these on the board, it drops to 8, and then it just progressively keeps getting lower and lower. So if you're going to get income from one of these businesses, let's get it early. So that way you get the maximum amount possible. So that casino gets me income, but it doesn't necessarily get Bob income or some other player. So you can see we're going to have competing interests on what kind of stuff we want to do. Now the other thing is I want to complete a set. So if I do the casino, for example, then that means I want to do these two before I do those. Not necessarily true, but there's a part of me that's my strategy that I'm thinking. And since this is a solitaire game, I get complete control over which businesses come out and in what order. When you're playing a multiplayer game, let's say I put this one out. That one there is going to get placed by some other player, very likely. And they're going to pick possibly something from over here. So they're not necessarily going to be helping you out. So in a multiplayer game, it is going to be drastically different. However, Mr. Bob here and Miss Sandra does all kinds of crappy stuff to us that multiplayer players don't get to do to us. So let's see how well it balances out. Okay, so with all that being said, I'm going to pick this one because it has a ferry. See the F? I like the ferry. So you must always touch 2 other tiles. So it's either going to go here or here. Those are the only 2 places I can place it. Now that's a very legal placement because as long as some portion is connecting that's a similar terrain type, then you're good. And see, this ferry now applies to that C zone and that C zone. So if I do a move, I can do a move, and this is all one movement. And it's all possible because the ferry made it possible. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope it does. So yes, I'm going to follow through and put the casino down. All right, so at this point, the next player would get to do it. But like the rules say, we get to do them all. So let's figure out what our next one's going to be. Well, I happen to like getting my businesses out. And I like the idea of having this C zone that connects everything. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and put, so here you can see the bar is worth 90,000. By the way, I checked a lot of the cards. They always add up to 150. So if you complete a set of 3, or if you see another player in a multiplayer game complete a set of 3, you know they just scored 150 points. Even though it's all secret scoring, in your mind, you can understand that they just got 150 points. So if you're mentally trying to keep track of how well you're doing, you can, because you can see every set is worth 150. Doesn't matter which set you're talking about. And every card has that same distribution. Now, some of them might be worth 100, and then the other one's only worth 50. You'll see some of that distribution going on, or you'll have, a 90-60 or an 80-70. You won't necessarily know the individual numbers, but if you see them do a whole set, then you know they just scored 150 points. Okay, so we have that. So now we're going to keep rolling, and I'm going to get this safe house out. And we're going to put him right here. Why not? Do I want to do that? There's a part of me that does. Yeah, why not? We'll go ahead and do that. And the safe house will be right there. Okay, now I haven't done a good job of explaining things. This is like a little grocery shop. That's a grocery shop. Okay, they're just 2 different shops. This is a D shop and a B shop. The letter doesn't matter, although in a solo game it does matter because the D actually does something special. But in a multiplayer game, I don't think they matter. A shop lets you go here where you can buy these items and unlock a safe if you have the key, okay? And then the shop also gets you gasoline, which gives you extra movement points. Okay, so we have 2 shops on the board. We have gangs. So this is a gang. They will work for you if you pay them $5,000. Gangs are quite awesome. They're very expensive, but they're awesome. They give you 3 different special powers. When you use the special power, you use up one of the gangs. So basically, you get to use the special powers twice. So that's the cool thing about the gangs. They are worth getting if you have the money. Let's just put it that way. Okay, next up is these are subways. So besides eating fresh, the subways allow you to move from this location to another subway location and instantly. It doesn't cost you a movement point. However, anytime you leave a tile, you still have to avoid the police. So if I go from this subway to that one, I still have to avoid this red cop. I just don't have to deal with the cops in between, as I move across. So I don't have to spend the movement points. And we talked about the hospital. The hospital, all it does is heal you if you take wounds, but it costs you money. You can heal 1, 2, 3 wounds respectively. But the doctor always reports you to the police that he treated somebody that looked suspicious, so your notoriety would go up. That's it. And then we have, like I said, 2 businesses and 1 safe house. And I get to pick which safe house it's going to be. And I'm going to pick safe house 3. Like so. Okay. And then we have the last tile. This is the exit tile. So this one has a church on it. It's the only tile that has the church. The church is, it's actually a very interesting one. You get a contact. You can spend $1 to lose a notoriety. Ooh. There's symbology on it. Or you can look on your player card. So the church, you can pay $1 to lose a notoriety. You can unlock an asset tile and take a contact card. Churches are actually pretty darn cool. The clinics are also cool. And then you can see the symbology here. That's the get a contact, that's the unlock an asset, and that's pay $1 to lose a notoriety. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that here. I know I'm just a rotating banshee, aren't I? Yeah, we're going to do it that way. I like, especially in a solitaire game, I'm going to try to set up as many big movement zones as possible so I can move across the map and it's all just 1 movement point. Right now, this water terrain is all 1 movement point, so that's a beautiful setup. Now, bear in mind, there's a lot of cops out there, so you still have to do some avoiding, but it's not bad at all. Okay, so we revealed the 4 tiles, and then the last thing you do before you move on to the next phase is you actually get to reveal the next set. So here you can see exit 2 is coming, and another subway. Here's another safe house, and then your first helicopter. And then here is exit 1 with another grocery store. And then this is another gang with another building or business. So the businesses are actually going to be very hard to come by here. Only 1 more is coming out next round. So that means there's 3 businesses. 3 businesses are in the tiles that are underneath these. And then we fill them up with cops again. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So see how I had a duplicate? So I take 1 back. Here's 2. And 2. The cops are annoying, to say the least. Okay, so the next thing we do is we adjust turn order by notoriety from most to least. Well, our notoriety, as you know, we haven't started playing yet, so our notoriety is still just 1. So what happens is turn order completely reverses. So it would go like that. So we're now going to go last, and then the AI is going to go first, which I find to be fascinating because the way the AI rules are, yeah, all right, well, let's see how this plays out. Okay, so green is going to go first. Green is Miss Sandra here. Now, Sandra's a cop. Sandra does not have to worry about escaping from other cops ever. She is a cop. She is not even a corrupt cop. She's just a cop. So I guess she could be, well, the point is we're not playing against her. I already explained that. So the rules say we reveal these cards, and she just goes wherever the card says, and we do whatever the card says. So here, she's going to go to grocery store D. Now, if this location was not yet on the board, we would just shuffle this back in to the deck after her turn's over, and then just draw another card until we get one. She goes anywhere on the board that we draw. Okay, then there's this stuff at the bottom, and there's a little chart here in the rule book that explains what that does. So what we do is we take her green token, and we move her to grocery store D, which is here, okay? So she moves to the location. Nothing special happens from her being there. She doesn't actually do the action, but she does this stuff at the bottom, which I think is saying she's going to remove 2 contacts from the game and then 1 safe of each color from the game. I'm pretty sure that that's what that means. So just give me a second. Yeah, okay, so she's basically a destroyer. So since she's a cop, she's removing our contacts. So we had the informer and the briber. So she basically arrested them or whatever she did. So she caused them to go out of the game. So those cards are gone. We don't get them back. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn them over here. And then 2 more contacts come out and are available for us. So she basically did that. And then she's going to destroy, she basically found our safes. So there's 1 of each safe that's removed from the game. And we're not going to get to see what they are, but I wanted to show you real quick. This safe, for example, this is the distribution. 1 of them has 0 written on it, 1 has 80, and 3 of them have 110. We don't know which one she got rid of, but she could have gotten rid of our really nice ones. But these are now all out of the game. So I'm just going to set them off the table. So that's what she is. She's your typical AI bot that just goes around and mucks up the board. Now, her card is forever out of the game. She will never get this card again. So her discard pile is truly out of the game. What's interesting is Bob, who's going to go now, he does things completely different, which I do find interesting about this game, and one of the reasons why I wanted to play it. Okay, so Bob, we're going to reveal until he gets a location that is either our exact location that we're currently at or something adjacent to us. Now, he's already at our location because we're starting the game, so he's going to have to go somewhere adjacent to us. His cards are never discarded. He could visit the same location more than once. And, oh yeah, actually they are discarded in specific situations, but we'll get to those whenever we cross them. Okay, so here he wants to go to exit 2. Exit 2 is not on the board. He wants to go to the restaurant, not on the board. He wants to go to Safe House 1. The gym. Grocery store A. Nope. Here we go, the nightclub. So he's going to go to the nightclub, which is adjacent to us, right? Because we're here, and that's the tile adjacent. So he's going to go there, and what he's going to do is, I think he's going to grab a contact, and then that plus sign means that he gets. That's what it means. And then the card actually gets shuffled back into the deck. So he could potentially go there again some other time. So Lieutenant Bob here, you may want to sleeve his deck because you're going to be shuffling his a lot more than the other ones if you're planning on playing solo a lot. Okay, so what happens? He came to the cocktail bar, and so we don't know if he's collecting income or not because we're not allowed to look at his card, but you just put that there to show that he visited the cocktail club. This cube counts as one of the 2 cubes necessary to close the business. So Bob went there and withdrew his money, whatever laundered money he had running the nightclub. Okay, and then what it said is it had a plus sign below it and then a contact card. So Bob is going to take this chopper and he puts it on his player board because Bob's going to score points at the end of the game. And Bob has no asset tiles, So everything is completely unlocked on his board, so we don't have to worry about things being clogged up. Now, in a multiplayer game, you would never do this. You don't have to shift things to the right, but because the AI always selects from the rightmost spot, you do have to do that in your solitaire game. So we know that the AI is going to take this next, so if we happen to like these, we better take those first, because these ones will be available for a while. I hope that makes sense. Moving on. So both of them have taken their turn. Now, one gripe we have with this game is that when somebody takes their turn, it would be really nice if there was like another spot to show, because a turn can take a while. But we just do something like that. Okay, and then it is now our turn. So we get to move, we get to whatever. There was a question that was coming up in my mind that now I'm not remembering. Yes, when Bob visits a closed exit and other stores, So if we ever have to escape a tile with Bob, we have to pay a $3,000 bribe, because basically Bob knows who we are. And since he's going to use his position as a cop to weasel us, so we're going to lose $3,000 if he's ever on our location and we're exiting the location. Now remember, you only have to escape a cop if you're leaving a tile that actually has the cop. So that's something we can do and take advantage of. But I'll explain that as we go. So it's our turn. We're going to move, and we're going to go 1 into this black zone, and then 2 into safe house 3. So we're going to go right to safe house 3. Okay. So what do we do at safe house 3? Well, the best thing you can do is just look at your player board. The first thing we would do is lose notoriety. We don't have any, so that was sort of that wasn't as good of a move for us. Maybe we should have done something to gain notoriety first, but that's okay. We get a key and we can buy a fixer tile. And more importantly, we get to place our income cube on the board. So the safe house 3 is an income box for us. Remember I told you I wanted to get income right away? So we come to the safe house, and if I'm going to collect income, I put my cube up here. If I put my cube there, I'm telling the other players that I'm going to get endgame money. This is the only thing you have to reveal in a multiplayer game. You don't have to reveal how much endgame money you're getting. You're just revealing that you're going to get endgame money. But if I put it up here, I'm revealing I'm going to collect income. So since I placed a cube, my income dropped from 5,000 to 8,000. So I get 8,000 in money, which is still good money. And then I get to take one of these 3 keys. Now, I didn't get into all the ramifications of this, but the keys unlock progressively better safes. And the thing is you need to have a combination of notoriety plus contacts in order to open a safe. The green safes can be opened basically right now. You can open any green safe you want. The black safes require some contacts and notoriety before you can unlock them. And then the brown ones require a lot of notoriety and contacts. So you need a lot of help to be able to get the brown ones. I'm going to go ahead and just grab a green one for now. And so once you grab the safe, or grab that, you can put it there, like so. Okay? Next thing you can do is we get to go through this entire pile, and we get to hire any fixer we want. So this one heals us. This one gives us an extra action. I'm setting him to the side. This one lets us avoid all 3 types of cops. Basically, we don't have to take a wound from them. That's a nice one. I'll put that there. This one lets us collect income. One more time. Ooh. That's not a bad one. Like, normally I don't like this one. Normally this one's trash, but at this stage of the game, this is actually really nice. I'm going to put that there. This one lets you lose a notoriety. This one lets you, it's like just, it's scuba gear, lets you go into the sea zone that doesn't have a ferry. This one lets you do a gang action, which is actually pretty good. This one is a helicopter ride, also pretty good. This one lets you unlock an asset. Ooh, that's pretty good. This one lets you get a contact. Also good. And this one is basically like, it's an energy drink. It lets you do a free rest. Okay, these ones I know I'm not going to want most of the game, so I'm going to put those on the bottom. And then these ones, and then this one on top. I think I'm actually going to take the income. I know that sounds crazy, but I actually like that idea. So I'm going to pay $3 and use it right now. So it's going to cost me $3 to hire this guy. And then he goes into the top row. But then I'm going to use him right away and collect 8,000. So that's a net of 5. So I just got a net of 5 more. And I'm going to pay that 5 right away to unlock this. These assets that are over here, I can do at any time in the game. This one I'm going to flip over, which is 10 in-game points. It cost me $5,000 to do, but in doing so, I just got myself a free action token, and I'm going to put that there. Okay? So I just did all of that in turn 1. I know it seems crazy, but that's a lesser game for you. Okay, that is the end of my turn, though. Let me make sure. Yep, nothing else is going on. And so we hit the end of our morning phase. So now we go to this star. So this star is where we would adjust notoriety. So if you remember, I actually had a -1 notoriety, so I would have put that there like that. So now we would resolve this. So I would say, hey, I get to lose 1 notoriety, but I'm already at the lowest possible value, so it didn't do anything for me. Okay, so we adjust notoriety for everybody. Nobody else had an adjustment. So now we move to the afternoon phase. And so we're going to rinse and repeat. And so that ends the morning phase of day 1. So I'm going to go ahead and end this because I can usually do an hour, but half hour is fine too. So I'm going to end this, and in just 2 seconds, I'm going to start right back up just so I can have a nice smaller video to upload to YouTube. So thanks for watching and stay awesome.